anyone like to refresh our memories of what we did last week?
Um, we completely derailed your attempts at making us fight the town. I know that much.
That's a little heavy-handed, but you definitely went a bit off course.
Against expectations, I think would be a better way of putting it.
Yeah, that's a good phrase.
And I know Miss put her foot in her mouth quite a lot of times.
Yeah. Um, because of just different congruent fates sort of colliding, several of you were appearing in the town of Scorn at around the same time. But one of you had a much worse afternoon when they were witness to a demon attack.
Somehow, after all of that, we are heading into the Beastmen territory to try and close a demon portal.
Yeah.
Find first, then close.
Yeah, sounds about right. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started then. So this will be, I'll go ahead and start us like in the morning after your first night in Scorn, but during that night, if I could have everyone roll me a d20.
Oh no.
Alrighty, so Azza rolled the best.
Time to make a new character.
No, I'm trying to think of how to spin that. Okay, so for this first night, Vinali is the one who will dream. Vinali, you spend the night resting deeply, tossing heavily in the in room bed that you have rented for the evening. But in your mind, these tosses and turns are the acrobatic and athletic movements you're so used to of slipping down collapsed tunnels and ruins of different origins that um, do not welcome visitors, but you've made it your life's work to get inside and find what secrets they hold. You are shimmying down a precipitous drop, having to balance your weight with a rope that you are holding on to that you've cast down. And after a certain point, there is a tug from above you, and you don't realize what happened until you're already falling, dropping just endlessly into a bottomless pit where the floor never seems to quite rise up to hit you. And as you're falling, you see the faces, undead, gaunt, and eyeless, that have haunted your dreams irregularly but not infrequently since those events happened all that time ago. And as you are descending, eventually the faces begin to change from undead monstrosities to uh, demons with fiery eyes glaring at you with hatred and anger. And you hear a voice calling out to you, a familiar one, asking for help. She's not screaming, and she's not uh, it's not loud, it's a quiet sort of pleading for you to come to her and find her soon. But you keep falling, and the red faces give way to black faces, which give way to no faces at all, but you can still feel them staring at you with loathing. and then you will wake up.
Wipe the sweat off my forehead and stumble downstairs for a drink.
Yeah, and a drink you'll be able to achieve, and you wake up in the inn along with Cal and Mish, who will also probably shortly find you within a few minutes.
Morning. What's got you still looking so spooked?
The usual terrible nightmares, falling into pits of demons.
Yeah, that would do it.
Huh. And you just, Miss, you're just doing that overly concerned look. Hmm. You, you want to talk about it?
Not particularly.
Hmm. I mean, so, I guess. Wait, are we missing somebody? Or some bodies, I should say?
And we're missing two still.
Hmm. So, by the way, what's your take on. Moon, what's your character's name?
You guys never found out last night.
Okay. So,
The witch.
yeah. So, what's your take on, the. And she does, like, massive air quotes, the witch they were about to burn. Or that they burned, I should say.
Well, hard to say. I don't get the impression she was actually evil or that she summoned those demons, but beyond that, might be a criminal, might be a saint, who's to say?
Hmm. I guess. But that one thing that one guy that we helped bring back, the one that he said, something's bothering me about it.
What was that?
Like, he mentioned that those demons that we attacked or that were attacking them actively avoided her. What do you suppose that's all about? And yet she's fighting back. Because I saw her shoot like a few spells at them. What do you think that's all about?
Oh, the way that I interpreted that made it sound more like they didn't even notice her, rather that they were avoiding her. But perhaps we
I
could
mean,
ask him. He's
and I
still
mean
around
in
here
a
somewhere.
I mean in a red dress like that, that's pretty hard to ignore.
Putting that gay energy out there already, huh?
But yeah, just a bit worrisome, you know?
And we're going to be working together for the foreseeable future, so we'll have plenty of time to learn about one another.
Hmm. Alright, well. So you think they'll either come in or we'll have to go pick them up?
I suspect we'll probably have to find them, especially her, because she's still going to be locked up.
Hmm. At least she's not in the morgue, right?
That is true.
All right, so you guys polish off probably a bit of breakfast and a bit of day drinking before you will eventually head out towards the city hall, which was the last place you saw Moon's character imprisoned. Outside, in the middle of the probably you weren't in the middle of the city square. You might have found a tree or shady corner to tuck into, Middendorfy, but you spent the night outside because no one wanted to let a beastkin stay the night inside of a building.
Understandable.
If they could have found a bed to fit you, to be fair.
Tree work.
So you probably come to wakefulness very early, right with the coming of the dawn light, as the town begins to wake up, and you'll see lumberjacks and other workers groggily slowly begin to make their way outside of the gates as they open and start heading about their daily routines.
Mitty will, as he wakes up, he'll do that, like, rub his back on the tree thing like bears do. Get the itches out.
Nice, nice.
Just imagine the sound of you yawning and all the lumberjacks running in terror.
Oh, sorry. Just yawning.
Yeah, you definitely attract a few stares and then a few like hurried footsteps away from you, but most people were well, actually I would say the entire town was present last night for the witch hanging, and they were present to watch you be spared, so they know that you're at least not an immediate threat.
So yeah, Mitty will he'll wander around looking for some grub.
Okay, yeah, you'll head out towards the only real place to get food here is either the tavern or the barracks, and given that you are not a soldier, barracks off limits to you. So about the time you guys are maybe getting ready to leave the tavern, you'll see Middendorfy kind of meandering outside and sort of unsure of how to go into the door that's like a foot shorter than he is tall.
Bend the knees. Do it. You can do it.
How do you small things function?
You could, bend over.
It's a lot of work. Also, that's a bit forward of you. We just met.
No, I mean, that's not what I meant. Come on. Ugh.
Cal will kind of motion as if he was gonna get down on four legs like an actual bear would. Like, do y'all not walk like that? Is that racist?
That's yeah. That's a bit. It's a bit racist, but I am not an actual bear. I am only walking this way in order to enter the tavern. Be not afraid.
I mean, the fact that you have weapons strapped to your back.
Battle bear.
Yeah.
I'll bear back 1 sec.
All right. You guys help Middendorfy get some food, and you will head over towards the the town hall to meet with the captain who you discussed quite a bit with yesterday, who I have named now as Captain Edis,
Morning.
because he was supposed to be dead.
Oh.
But yeah, you make your way to the town, the city hall, and I keep calling it city hall, but you know what I mean, the official office, and you are shown inside. Within some time frame, the captain will be presented before you, and he'll greet your group with a reserved but polite welcome to the morning to you all. I trust that our accommodations proved acceptable.
Mm-hmm. I'd say so.
I've slept warmer, but it'll suffice.
Fortunately, there are not many alternatives here. We are not flush with options this far out into the borderlands.
So what is the plan on helping our friend escape the town without raising too much of a fuss?
Yes, quite. We will have to arrange something so that she does not scare the townsfolk. I have some ideas. Certainly, we could enlist the help from Gwen, who helped us pull off the ruse last night in the first place, but I thought to ask the witch if she could cover her own tracks, perchance.
Wait, I thought she was cleared of that charge. Why are you still calling her a witch?
I have not been presented a more fitting appellation.
Apple what now?
I have nothing better to call her, my dear.
I mean, their name would help.
Right, well, perhaps we will go ask her her name from behind bars.
She just shrugs.
You may feel free to go down and meet her. Take the stairs on the left. I will go retrieve the Queen's blade, and I will meet you presently. So you are allowed to go down to the, like I said before, the sub-level with two dinky, relatively small prison chambers, one of which is empty, one of which probably has a moderately irate Melanie who has spent a less comfortable evening in here than y'all did in the tavern.
Apologies for making you wait.
Oh, no worries at all. I've just been having a lovely evening down here.
I can well imagine.
And Miss just is holding her nose like, oh god, do they at least clean this place? Ugh.
You get used to it after a while.
After a while, what?
It's a joke.
Hmm. Okay. But yeah. So apparently you're coming with us. I guess as part of your parole or whatever. No, in all seriousness, what did you do?
I think y'all know what I did. I helped defend against the demon attack and wound up here.
Hmm. No, but I guess I can ask later, but I don't know, what, jilted ex-lover or something? Who just really wants you dead or whatever?
That seems rather extreme measures to go to.
And Mish shuts up.
That's probably the best decision you've made so far, Mish.
She flips Cal a middle finger.
Ah, good. You are getting along swimmingly. You hear from the top of the stairs as Captain Edis rejoins you. He's bringing with him a youngish woman, human with dark hair, and she's wearing actually rather practical, like combat leathers, with a slight, almost purple accent color where there is decorative cloth within it. And he will introduce her as, "This is Queen's Blade Gwen. It is thanks to her sorcery that we pulled off the farce last evening. You owe her your life." And Gwen will just kind of be a bit more demure about it and kind of duck her head and say, "I wouldn't quite go that far, but I'm happy that we did not have to hang you, witch or not."
You and I both.
Edis has informed me that you will be taking up the charge of trying to locate this demonic rift.
appears to be the plan.
Well, she will kind of look around at everyone assembled here and take your measure before asking. Um, I hope you don't find it too forward of me, but do any of you have any experience dealing with daemonkin or any such activities as this before?
Does killing them count?
Oh, killing them can help, but it is not all you're being asked to do.
I mean, I have a knack for sniffing them out, as it were.
Well, that is one. How about any of the rest of you?
Denali just kind of shrugs and says, "That was my first encounter with any demon kind, but not familiar with undead, if that matters."
Would I have come into contact with any demons at sea?
I mean, let me think. Roll me a D100. Because the chance is slim, but not impossible. Nah, in your travels, you have not specifically. The Dell and a lot of the ocean ways are probably one of the safest places to be from demons because there's not a lot of people and land out there for them to feed on. But you've probably heard stories, like most people, of what they get up to on the continents.
Well, other than bedtime stories probably told by my mom, I haven't heard anything new.
Well, I hate that we have to send rather inexperienced adventurers after this task, but unfortunately, there's just not a lot of other options available to us.
Well, it sounds as though the alternative is all-out war, so seems like a nobler cause as any.
A part of me wishes it weren't so, but there is probably no other way for us to peacefully enter the Heartland without having to kill every beastkin that stands in our way, for they will surely bar our path. And she kind of looks dead at you, Middendorfy, as if sort of challenging you to say that she's wrong.
It's cute that you think you'd kill everyone that stood in your path.
Me personally, no. It is not the act of the. Sorry, that is not the prerogative of the Queen's Blade, but if our armies were to clash, I'm sure that many lives will be lost on both ends.
Possibly, yes.
Sorry.
Good.
Are any of us familiar with the role of Queen's Blade to know what she is?
Moon probably is. And you were in Lucindale for like your childhood, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll say you can roll a history check, and then Moon can roll one with advantage. As Melanie was in Lucindale for longer.
Yep.
Oh, she didn't use that time wisely. Yeah. So you, for reasons that might become apparent when I answer Vinali, Moon, Melanie maybe doesn't know too much about this particular organization. Vinali, although you left Lucindale prior to your maturity, you know that in terms of the different sort of military apparatuses of Lucindale's new empire, the Queen's Blade is state military directly of Hightown, directly of the Dreaming Queen, and it's essentially her military apparatus. So they are the guardians of the home front, essentially.
Would it be unusual then for one to be way out here in the boonies?
Yes, it would be. That is not their usual job rotation.
Pardon me for asking, but why is someone of your stature all the way out here?
Oh, familiar with our organization, are you? I didn't take you for a continental.
It's been a long time, but I am.
Well, I'm sure you've been briefed by Edis if you've been given this mission, but Colonial Authority was considering a rather drastic action, and as such, our organization sent a few observers to check the status of things and make sure all was in order before the Queen committed her troops so brazenly. I was picked for such a role.
Well, hopefully, your services won't be needed. But I suppose that's up to us, isn't it?
Who'd you piss off to get recon duty?
She'll kind of smirk at the bear and say, my specialty always was far from the edge of prying eyes in the cityscape, so I was a good occupational fit.
Fair enough.
Edis will pipe up at this point and say, to brief you once more, as the Queen's Blade has mentioned, you will be sent directly into the Hasari, which is the last safe space for non-beastkin before they enter the heartland from this edge. We can guarantee your safety into the village. We have a man who will escort you and make sure that you get there without incident. But after that point, any further exploration or transgression past border lines will be left to your discretion. I'm sure you understand.
Plausible deniability.
If, and believe me when I pray that you do not, if you fail, we cannot have this as an incident falling back on our feet.
So we've never met, never heard of you. No idea what's going on in the town of Scorn.
Give away what trifling details you must. We do not have terribly much here to hide, but certainly no mention of any militant maneuvers should escape your mouth.
Understood.
We will send you on your way with some provisions. It will still be likely a day or two of travel for you to reach the Hasari. We will, our man will provide a cart for you and will meet you and guide you along the way. In the meantime, I would have you tend to a small errand while we gather these materials.
What you need doing?
My lieutenant is a man named Hasoon. He is a ranger, quite expert in his field and craft. He has been heading up our efforts to identify and catalog the demon attacks plaguing this region. And I would have you report to him with what you encountered yesterday and learn from him anything you can that might help you on your mission.
Well, given we just discussed how unfamiliar most of us are with demons, I think that would be a worthy endeavor.
I'm sure he will have much he can share with you about their general nature and what sort of attacks have been cataloged? To be honest, these not all have reached my desk. You understand?
I get it.
He should only be at his ranger station, a few hours out of town to the south. It will not take you long, and by the time you return from discussing with him, we will, like as not, have your provisions assembled for you to leave town and begin your mission in earnest.
Alrighty.
He will take a moment to sort of pause and draw out the silence before he's addressing the whole group, but he's locking eyes with Melanie as he says this. But I trust you know that all of your names and likenesses are known to me and the Queen's Blade here, and if you disappear from the town of Scorn this afternoon before you are sent on your way, we will know.
Loud and clear.
I don't think we've done anything to warrant the threats, but it is understood.
I do not mean to make threats, but I must ensure that we are all on the same page of exactly exactly your standing here.
Well, Mother told me to play nice, so you ain't got anything to worry about from me.
Very well. Witch, do you have some means of disguising your physical appearance so that you might leave the town without scaring half of it crazy?
Oh, I have my ways.
Very well. Do try not to incite a panic. Come, Gwen, we must prepare for their departure, and he will start to escort the Queen's Blade up the stairs, and at a motion, and another soldier will come and finally unlock the jail cell for you, Melanie. And he has in his hands the few personal belongings you had, including your book.
Thank you, kind sir.
He just kind of nods, like determinedly not making eye contact with you, turns on his heel and goes back up the stairs.
Colonials are so weird being afraid of such a frail looking thing like you.
I know, it's almost as if they see you and me.
I should get their eyes checked then.
Pray tell, do you have some sort of name we can refer to you as? I don't suppose you'd be open to the idea of us calling you Witch all the time.
No, because that would be very wrong. But you can call me Tabitha.
Very well, Tabitha. I am Vanali.
I'm Middendorfy Toughhide, but Mother calls me Mitty, so I guess if we're going to be traveling with each other, you can call me that too.
Pleased to meet you, Mitty.
Pleased to meet you too, Tabitha.
You can call me Mist. And I don't really have any fancy last names.
Well, I don't either, so it's perfectly fine.
And I'm Cal. If you have any locks that need picked or any ships to sail, I'm your guy.
I like you already.
you guys have mostly been left to your own devices here to gather your forces and head out to the south, where you've been told the Rangers' hideout is.
Well, there's no reason to linger. I suppose we should make our way and meet this ranger, see what he can tell us.
Are we going downtown or out of town?
Oh, it is out of town. It's an hour-ish away from the gates.
Alrighty, then we'll make our way out of town then.
Alrighty, you guys. Well, so you gather yourselves and begin to head out. Moon, are you taking any effort to disguise yourself?
Yes, I will use Mask of Many Faces, and I will look like probably just like a female version of Cal.
Okay, so like a female full elf, dark hair, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right, good to know. So, and you do this in front of your companions.
Yeah, I do in front of them. That's fine.
So, despite assertions of definitely not a witch, you guys watch as Tabitha waves like her hands in front of her face, comic book style, and just her appearance and physical features blend and like wave within just a moment, and suddenly there is like a different person standing there before you.
Huh.
That's not a face I've seen in quite a while.
Why, thank you.
Interesting parlor trick.
Wait, what happened?
Exactly, Mitty, exactly. Shall we get going?
I'm
Sure.
lost, but sure.
Alrighty, so you guys are head up out of the jail. You leave and enter the open air of Scorn with a now disguised companion with you. Um, at this point, I'd say you've been talking for a little bit, so the immediate rush of workers leaving the town has slowed. So there's very few people milling about now. It's mostly travelers like yourselves or a couple of soldiers here or there. Um, you do see there is one guy, a wearing the Colonial Authority colors of red. He's not armored. He looks more like a page or something. Who, as you leave the town center, he like runs past you into the town center, hurrying on some sort of business or something. But otherwise, you are relatively unobserved as you are leaving the town.
Huh. Wonder what's up with him.
Admittedly, part of me does want to eavesdrop, but I suppose it's none of our business.
True.
So you guys leave town.
We have to find that ranger guy, right?
Correct. Well, so I'm trying to not to railroad you here. You leave town. Are you going to go find Ranger Guy?
No, that's Vinali's intention.
Yep, and that's Mist's intention as well.
All right. Well, if you head after him, then you make your way into the forested mountain valley of the Howling Pass, with the rising summer climate, it is nice and bright and sunny, but this far north, it's actually like not very warm. It's still like maybe in the mid 60s. So it's a fairly pleasant morning as you make your way out into the forest. But with just a general direction given to you all of south of the village. That's kind of vague to follow. So, could someone maybe heading this effort up make a survival check for me to see how you guys do?
I can do it.
All right, 13. So, pretty good. You've been obviously used to traveling in these types of regions for your entire life, Midi. So, you keep the rest of the crew members, even if they maybe have a penchant for wandering off in the wrong direction, pretty on track. And within, I'll say it takes you guys not knowing exactly what you're looking for more like 2 hours to find the ranger station, but you find it fairly without incident. And what you will see when you get there is one of the larger trees in the region. You'll recognize it, Midi, as a heart bough, one of the trees that have been here in the cradle for like 1,000 years, and the druids back home really like prize them and love to take care of them. But they have built these colonials have built pretty much a glorified tree house inside of its boughs in order to house this sort of off the ground like hunter's station of a treehouse, if that makes sense.
What are you people doing?
What do you mean?
I don't even. This abomination in front of us.
That certainly looks okay. I mean, it's a bit garish, but I'm not sure what you mean.
It's. It's sacred, and it's just been defiled so brazenly. What is wrong with you colonials?
No, if you think this is bad, you should see the main cities.
I don't want to at this point.
There is rope and wood slat ladder that will lead you higher up into it if you so wish.
Do you suppose you'll be able to actually climb that, Midi?
That's a good question. Mitty will look it over. How strong does this rope look?
It looks pretty serviceable for normal occupancy. You do question its the integrity of lifting a like several 100-pound bear.
You guys go up first. I'll see if I can find a different way or something.
Or we can just get them to come out to us.
Equally valid.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Cal will reach out to the rope ladder and kind of shake it so it clatters real loud against the wood, and he'll holler up like, "Anybody here?"
Okay. I will say I didn't get my dice out. 1 second.
the dice back and he's going to use it, damn it.
I know, I just got them all, and I haven't really gotten to use them.
The dice is loose.
Okay. I don't think an 11 beats your armor class, right?
Mine?
Yes, yours.
Nah.
Okay, you watch as a crossbow bolt whizzes out of the opening of the treehouse and sort of sticks in the ground. Not that close to you, but like it was aiming at you, Cal. And you will hear a relatively high pitched male voice call out, "That is official property you're dealing with. Back away, hooligans, or else I will fire again."
We were told to come here? Sir?
Fire another crossbow bolt at us, and I'll shove it where the sun don't shine, boy.
We were sent by Captain Edis to speak to Lieutenant Hassoon.
There was more like rummaging noise from within the treehouse, but at your mentions, Tabitha, those quiet for a minute, and you'll hear after a heavy pause. "You were sent by the captain. He sent a beast with you."
Hey, now that's rude.
The beast has information on a demon attack that occurred recently.
"Ah, I see. A first-hand witness. Yes, that would make sense. That's the only reason. Okay. Yes, very well. I will come." And again, after some rummaging and probably removing himself from like a barricade or something, you'll see a short, even by halfling size, but adult halfling male come out the like sort of cloth flap of the tent. Short, almost shaven, black hair all over, and he is wearing also sort of leather armor, but a little bit less fine than the Queen's Blade was. But he comes out, crossbow still in hand, a little like nervously as he looks down at all of you. "I am Lieutenant Captain Hassoon. You say a demon attack occurred yet again?"
Yes, just yesterday.
"Well, that makes the fifth. What news do you bring? Has Edis made a move?"
Well, if there's a move to be made, I suppose we're it.
"Really? Okay." And he kind of looks down at all of you, sees you still by the rope ladder with your hand on it, Cal, and he'll just sort of use his free hand to make like a shooing motion at you.
He'll put his hands up and take a step back.
And with deft but slightly anxious grace, the halfling will scurry down the ladder until he stands in between the group of you. And at 3 foot, if he was on his tiptoes, he is like uh, midsection height of all of you, pretty much, and even lower for Middendorfy.
Swear you colonials get shorter every time I meet a new one of you.
Play nice, Smitty.
He shot at us,
Well, he shot at me.
and he defiled this tree.
Okay, you got a point.
Again, if you think this is the filing of a tree, oh boy.
"I assure you I am not certain what you are speaking of. I think my ranger station is quite handsome," he'll say, and he'll put a little hand on the rope ladder to try and balance it, but like almost kind of lose his stance.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well,
It's an atrocity. We're just lucky the druids aren't here to see this.
I did not come down from my very important ranger station business to be lectured about the mythologies of the beastkin. So, what is this move that you say Edis is making?
Well, a lot of us are being sent into his territory to just really to find this supposed portal and hopefully put a stop to it.
Well, it's about time. I told him we should have sent that Cicero in weeks ago when we confirmed that it was coming from their region. He'll kind of. Oh, go ahead.
Understandably, there are political concerns about sending a large force across the border of, well, potentially enemy territory.
I am aware, but you see, the thing about demonic rifts is they get bigger the longer you leave them. So the more we sit on this, the more the hole under our butts gets wider.
You seem like quite the expert on the subject.
No, I'm not, but I've been made one by the colonial authority.
You don't sound very pleased about that.
I signed up to come out here and make some tree houses and pop a few crossbow bolts at a few beastkin. I didn't come out here to be worrying about demons coming needing my soul for their breakfast.
Well, I mean, with how poorly you shot that crossbow, maybe you needed a new job.
And with how badly you made this treehouse, it definitely seems that may be the case.
He's kind of like pouting up at all of you as you just rail on the guy, and he's like, okay, well, if this conversation does not change tempo soon, I will be returning to my shitty treehouse.
The point is, we were sent here to get, well, we were told that you were something of an expert on demon attacks. Whether or not that's true remains to be seen, I suppose, but sent to discuss with you our findings and learn from you what we can.
Learning, I can do. Fighting demons is less my specialty, and if you ask me, shouldn't be anybody's specialty, really. But if you say you have information, might as well start with it. What sort of demons did you encounter? You can skip the part where you say it was runts guarded by something bigger. That has been the same for all of the attacks.
Does Midi have any knowledge on demons?
I will say, make me a Arcana check. Because he almost certainly has fought a few before. An 11. You've definitely fought some during your time with your tribe, and you may have even fought some after, if you catch my drift. But you know the general gist of fire is not a very effective weapon against them because they themselves are fire. You know that they like attacking soft targets. They eat people and eat their souls, and they seem to get stronger from doing so. And that's pretty much what you would know with that.
Okay, so about probably what's on par.
Yeah, I said that's about what you would know. Besides, like practical combat experience with a few different types which you have encountered before.
Okay. Well, it was exactly that. Big guy with a couple of little poker throwers.
Yes, the runts. They are, well, I can't be certain, but given the behaviors, I've been thinking of them like babies or larvae or something. They always have been shepherded to the food by something stronger. What was the guardian like this time?
Some giant ogre-looking thing.
Ogre. I thought, wasn't it? Like, I'm not.
A what?
Wasn't it? I thought he called it an ape at one point. Am I wrong? He as in, like, you, DM.
Yeah, I did say it walked like a gorilla on its like front
Ah.
arms. It was big. It was like larger than any of you, even than Midi. Very wide, but its bottom half was like tiny, like relatively tiny compared to like it had huge fuck off like front arms, which it like walked on instead of its feet.
I suppose the most interesting thing about it is just that it seemed mostly, for its size, not particularly strong, just very durable.
Had a hard outer carapace.
Interesting. I don't think I've recorded anything quite like that before. I take it that whoever it was that got attacked is perhaps lucky that it wasn't some of the other beasties that have been crawling out of that rift.
Well, that would be he and I would gesture to Midi again.
Oh, you all were the ones that were attacked. How many did you lose?
Well, us being attacked isn't really the appropriate description of events. I was hunting it down, and it happened to cross a couple of your lumber thieves. Killed a couple of them, and well, that's when it and I started duking it out. The rest of these folks showed up shortly after.
I
I say we
see.
were the ones attacked. I mean that we were the ones that the big guy had hit.
Well, yeah, he must not be too terribly strong then, but it is good to see that not all of them are manslayers with such efficacy. What I can tell you about previous attacks is that, as I mentioned, they all have featured those runt like creatures, and every single one of them has involved them attacking some of our civilians or travelers on the road and seemingly eating their fill and then retreating before our soldiers can engage with them.
Yes, they also all involved large ones protecting the little ones.
Yes, I don't believe the runtlings can probably fend for themselves. They seem, at least in our experience, they've generally seemed very vulnerable, if rather mean.
Hmm. Yeah, not to mention the small ones are like vicious little blighters. Like they can spit spikes now, apparently.
You see him kind of like rack his mind for a minute. Oh, that might explain a few things. We've never quite caught them in action like that. They've usually been eating while their overseers tend to whatever the threat is.
Hmm.
Not to state the obvious, but it sounds as though they're building up their forces for something.
Which is why I've been telling Edis we need to close that portal as soon as possible.
Well, then, you should be eager to let us know what you know.
Well, like I told Edis, and like I've been telling the colonial authorities since these attacks started, uh, I've looked these woods. I've looked up and down the pass at all points on our side of the border, and I have found not a single hide nor hair of a demonic rift.
Do you know what one would look like if you stumbled across it?
Uh, make an insight check.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Um, so what he will say is, I believe it would be hard to miss such a uh, hmm, I believe it would be hard to miss something so obviously evil and full of demons, but you see very evident in his sort of under like his micro expressions and stuff that at that question he has no like mental image of what a rift would look like.
Well, I imagine you certainly can't be wrong on that front. I imagine it should be fairly obvious, but we can't be sure, can we?
I suppose that there are certainly uh, some small regions of the mountains that I can't examine, and you know I'm only one man here, uh, but I think, and like I've told Edis, the only thing that makes sense to me is that it's on the other side of the border. That those beasts just, I don't know, either they don't care, or they're cheering them on in our direction, or they're incapable of taking it out. I don't know. I've never been that way.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like that doesn't sound like it holds any weight.
Well, I'm sure you can get all the information you need when you go to that little tent village and talk to the people there and see what they have to say for themselves. Maybe they've been getting attacked too. I don't know.
Well, it actually raises an interesting thought. If the beasts haven't been able to take care of the portal either, then perhaps it's not so obvious on its face what the portal is. Perhaps they're struggling to find it just as you are.
There is a chance of that. I would hate to think so, but potentially these demons are craftier than I gave them credit for. Maybe they can hide it with magic or something, but I don't know.
If you were building an army and you had to bring these little children through in order to feed them souls, I imagine you'd want to keep the path that the children are crossing through fairly well hidden.
That's a fair enough assessment. I agree. Hmm. The only thing I can contribute to either build up or tear down that assessment is we've never been able to track them going back. They seem to it's the general region of the Howling Pass towards us that they attack, but there's not a consistent entry point that we can locate if they're not just walking up the pass.
Manali's just gonna go kind of quiet as he puzzles to himself how they're going to have any better luck trying to track the portal down.
I mean, like, is there a consistent, like, do you have a log of where all these attacks took place?
Well, yeah, that's my job, and he will scabber back up the rope ladder, rummage around for a few minutes. You'll watch a halfling size, is like very small, like thimbleful flask will roll out from the entryway and clatter down to the ground beside you guys on the grass. Before he'll return eventually, and he has this mostly just a few like big pieces of like cartography paper, and like a loose leaf collection of notes, and he's plotted out. So here's the information. You can see 5 attacks, different locations all around this pass area, all around Scorn. No consistent angulature.
Anything that would jump out at us looking at this?
Let's see. None of you are proficient in cartographer's tools, are you?
Nope, not me.
Me.
I've got navigators, but I don't think that helps at all.
I mean, it's close enough. Make me a roll with that using your intelligence mod.
How do I do that?
Let me see. It should, if you just click it, it should ask you. Let's see, 10. What you can confirm looking at it is his baseline assertion that they're not like all coming from the same place and they're all kind of like spread around is accurate. They could, frankly, just be walking up the pass in an easterly direction and hitting the first group of people they find. That nothing in the chart seems to say that wouldn't make sense. They could be coming from elsewhere. It's hard to tell. I'll reiterate here for a geographic sense. Let me take you to the map real quick. But you'll see if you look at the Howling Pass, it's just a valley break in between different mountain ranges, and at Hassoon's own admission, they've not paid him to scavenge every mountain ridge in the immediate vicinity. So there's not quite a confirmation that it's definitely coming from the Beastkin zone, but that's where he's kind of pinpointing it.
You pointed out there's no real pattern to these attacks. It seems as though there's no real identifiable source that they may be coming from one particular direction. Do you think there's more than one portal?
He'll kind of scratch at his cheek for a minute, thinking about that, and say, I don't know. I can't say for certain. I think if that's the case, this is a problem bigger than me and yous. It's bigger than Edis. It's bigger than a lot of us if there's a bunch of portals under these mountains.
Well, I suppose it's our job to find that out then.
I'll put it this way. As you can tell, I wasn't born here. Came from across the sea, and back where I'm from, I knew a few dwarves, and I talked to them, and it's been their people's whole life, fighting the demons they found underneath their homes. If there's a bunch of them under here, then I don't... Colonial Authority's not going to want to settle here, I'll tell you that.
The a lovely sentiment to leave it to be someone else's problem, but it'll be our problem eventually, and there'll be a lot less allies we could have had.
Well, I wish you the very best of luck in identifying where these demons are coming from. I do think, whether you believe me or not about the beast skin, that if you ask around down there, you might be able to find something out if they're experiencing the same thing we are. If they haven't heard anything about demons, that's information in its own right.
That's true as well.
Well, is there anything more I can tell you folk, or are you gonna just abuse me a bit more?
I mean, we were probably on our way out, so yeah.
I think it's best we make haste.
Well, good luck not becoming number 6.
Good luck defeating the demon horde with your crossbow from up a tree.
He'll just kind of like retreat back into his treehouse with a air of glad to be done with this conversation.
Understandable.
You think we were a bit too hard on him?
Hardly.
Hmm. Then Mish just shrugs. Oh well.
Right. Well, you guys have gathered some information, and you are free to return to Scorn if you wish to, or if you had any other ambitions.
As long as we're talking about ambitions, I say we start a communist revolution.
Not in this campaign, too.
I was gonna say, I don't know if communism exists here yet.
I can say there's a town that could use it, but you've not been there yet.
Well, we might as well get going then, yeah?
Sounds as though there's a certain degree of urgency to things.
I mean, that's a good thing, right?
Yes, but they also have no clue where these portals, supposed portals, may be anyways. We could literally be scouring the entire continent for it.
Hmm. Well, it's kind of why I asked for, like, a map to, or at least, like, the location of these various attacks. Maybe we could, trace back, or see if, like, there's an identifiable pattern.
And we just spent the last 15 minutes being told there wasn't one.
Well, he was probably lying or, just being a dick. Because,
He wouldn't have to lie to us.
or
Not
just
like
being,
us, but that's his ass on the line as well as ours.
I don't know, I just got the impression he was just being a dick.
Oh, you heard him. He didn't want to really be in charge of this demon hunt.
There's nothing stopping him from just going home.
Branded a coward is hardly continue a life in the military.
Well, I guess we got what we came for, so we might as well head back. I guess.
Well, it's an illuminating discussion, but at least we can rule certain things out.
right, so you guys make your way back towards Scorn, retracing your steps, and so you left 10 o'clock ish, 2 hours to get there, a little bit of talking, a couple hours back. It's going on, 2 o'clock now, well after lunchtime. As you approach Scorn, you will see a fairly decent entourage for Scorn at the front gate. You'll see the Queen's Blade on a horse with two of the soldiers similarly bridled and ready to go beside her, and they begin to. They seem to be waiting for something before they head out at the gates. And as you approach, she will wave and hail you down.
Certainly hope all this isn't for us.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Edis did not approve such provisions for your mission, but this is for my use.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, business has occurred apace, and I am needed back at Aegis in the east, so I will be departing, and I will not be here to hear word of your mission. So I wanted to make sure that I sent you off with my most heartfelt well wishes, and I will pray for your success to the Queen.
Well, I certainly appreciate the sentiment.
I do hope that our men here have been of use to you and will provide you everything that you need. And, with luck, maybe in a few weeks' time, this region will need not fear demon attacks again.
That's certainly the ideal, though. Fortunately, our trip out to meet the ranger is less than satisfactory.
The lieutenant captain was not able to provide you with all the information you needed?
We ended up with more questions than answers.
Well, do be sure to pass on your complaints to Edis. He will certainly see to it that his man is disciplined as necessary, but I must run, but is there anything I can provide for you in the short term?
No, I think we're good for the time being.
I would say seeds, but I don't suppose Scorn has the wherewithal to supply them.
You said steeds?
Yes.
Yeah, she will kind of give you a little sad smile and shake her head and say, unfortunately, these I brought with me. I'm sorry.
I thought I imagined as such, and this doesn't look like the kind of village that has very many to spare.
No, and shortly, perhaps even fewer than now, but you will be away from Scorn for the time being. Try not to let its safety weigh too heavily on your minds. You go out to fight not just for Scorn, but for all of the citizens of the Empire that will call this land home one day.
Sounds as though you have important business to get to. We shouldn't hold you any longer. Safe journeys to you.
To you all as well, and she will bid farewell and begin to ride out of the gates, and the two escorts will follow her. And leaving the gate, they will turn left, heading back towards the east.
Okay, well. So, I guess we just report in? Or are we heading out ourselves at this point?
Well,
I believe to report in first.
You have to be escorted, remember.
So you guys go and inquire for the captain, and he will make himself available to you and say, yes, it is good to see you back. I do believe that our man is ready shortly. He is outside of the village to the west, just a mile or so, just to, ensure that no one sees you leaving. But he should be prepared. I trust that your information from my lieutenant was satisfactory.
For what
Enough.
he was able to provide, yes, but much.
Yes, well, certainly we cannot provide you a comprehensive information about all of demonkind, or else, if we could, we would not be captain and lieutenant captain out in the middle of the western edge of the empire.
Valid point. Perhaps those should be qualifiers if this is to continue.
What was that? Sorry.
I said those, though perhaps those should be qualifiers if this is to continue.
Well, he will think on that for a second and say, but you see, my good friend Vinali, it is my job to ensure that if you do your job, I can continue to do my job.
The other question then is, do you have any provisions that you can supply us with?
Yes, we have a week's worth of food for your group. Well, a week's worth of normal food for your group. I'm not sure what the beast will eat, but that is loaded into the cart, and my man is waiting for you with it.
The beast will eat you if we're not careful.
He seemed rather fond of pot roast the night before.
It was edible.
You may need to supplement your rations with some fresh hunted game then to appease his needs, but I think you should find that you won't starve on your way to the hussery or immediately thereafter.
It would be a terrible way for them to come to.
Unfortunately, anything more than that is rather outside of our immediate ability to provide for, but rest assured, the Queen's Blade, before she left, gave me permission to keep how should I say this? Gave me permission to hold a certain amount of grant money in lieu of when you complete your task. So, upon return, you shall receive, based on your efforts, a certain sum of coin, which you shall certainly find agreeable.
Certainly makes this a bit more appealing.
Considering that initially you were doing this to clear your own names and to keep yourselves in the good graces of the Empire, I think the Queen's Blade was rather generous with her offer.
Well, you'll have to thank them for us then.
Oh, I highly doubt I will see her again. She's returning to the eastern port and probably will never visit this quaint little town again.
Seemed to leave in a hurry, didn't you?
Important orders from the front. It happens on the regular, I'm sure you can imagine, with someone of her station.
bit curious, though, that she made it sound as though her usual tasks take her to places like this, not back home.
Well, I was given to the impression that she was not returning home so much as she was returning to the port to receive new orders, or, well, to be honest, she did not share much more than that with me, so I cannot inform your curiosity.
Fair enough. We have more pressing matters anyway, I suppose.
It's quiet. If you, upon return, assuming you survive and are successful in your mission, if you are really so smitten with her, you are probably welcome to inquire back into the port of Aegis.
Well, I suppose, there's nothing left to it but be on our way, and he'll kind of turn and look to the rest of the party.
Mish is looking ready to go.
All right, if y'all are good, then you will take your leave of the pleasant question mark, Captain Edis. You are able to leave the city again. Well, I'll say, would you? People are probably coming back now and getting a spot of lunch. I'll say if you guys wanted to, you could quickly get a meal before you head out to sate your own hunger.
Probably a wise idea.
The thing is, where are we gonna find a place that'll accommodate um, for Dorothy?
Well, you can go into the tavern, pick up some food, and come back out with it for him.
Okay.
You get a to-go sandwich. But you get your last hot meal from a sit-down place for probably the last time in a couple of days, for the next couple of days, and you head out of the town, following the after-lunch rush. You go to the west and following the general directions. It's harder to miss this time. There's no woodland in the way because this has all been clear cut. You will find just outside of town, a few minutes. There's a cart is a strong word for it. Kind of maybe a little bit more of a wagon. The single horse pulling it that has been loaded up with like a few boxes and parcels of hardtack and food for the road. It's nothing luxurious, but functional. And familiar catfolk is standing against its side of it, waiting for you. And as Mish, uh, Cal, and Vinali walk up, he will wave at you and say, "Well, if it isn't the folks who took my gold."
Fancy meeting you here.
Fancy meeting you. I thought you were here for something important, and you wouldn't really answer me, so good to see my intuitions were right.
Yes, this was definitely something we were keeping close to the chest all along, and not something that we stumbled ass backwards into.
Oh, it's that kind of secret assignment, then, is it?
It would seem that way.
Well, sorry to hear that. He'll stick his hand out for you guys to shake it in turn. My name's Cicero. I'm a mercenary who's been working with the authority for a little while now, and my job is to take you all to the Hassery and make sure you don't run off.
Okay. Did you have to make it sound so ominous?
Well, there's nothing ominous about it. I'm just a little half cat. I'm not gonna fight the five of you, but if you run off, then I get to go tell my boss about it.
You are aware that revealing this to us would only mean that if we did decide to all collectively run off, we would just dispose of you first.
It'd be fun to see you try.
Oh, cat's got some feist in him.
Well, we are going, after all, my big Urso friend, to my kind of village and not yours.
Wait, what do you mean by your kind of village?
He'll just kind of like look askance at you and wiggle his plain as day, like compared to you, Mish. Like he is very out and open as a half cat, nothing obscuring his blonde cat ears and tail from twitching expressively as he'll say, why, it's a positive flock of felines you're about to wade yourselves into.
Hope none of y'all have allergies.
Hmm. I don't know how to make of that.
Well, you can figure it out along the way. It's a bit of a journey, he'll say as he's already like starting to get the horse into gear.
Alright.
So you guys set out with your watchman, overseer, Cicero with you. Uh, Meager provisions the town was able to provide as you begin heading west to the last stop of, and I use air quotes here, civilization, before you hit the Beastkin heartland proper. The hossery awaits. We will get to that shortly, but for the break time, we can go ahead and take it for 5 or 10 minutes if you need to get up.
Okie doke.